Britain would be prepared to launch military strikes against Syria without parliamentary approval if asked to do so by the US. The Foreign Secretary has signaled. Boris Johnson said he and the Prime Minister agreed. In the event of another chemical attack by the Assad regime, it would be hard the UK to refuse such a request. Speaking to BBC Radio 4's Today program, Johnson said, "If the United States has a proposal to have some sort of action in response to a chemical weapons attack, and if they come to us and ask for our support, whether it is with submarine cruise missiles in the Med, or whatever it happens to be, in my view, and I know this is also the view of the Prime Minister, it would be very difficult for us to say no." Asked if any UK strikes against Syria would need approval from the Commons, Johnson said, "I think that needs to be tested. How we exactly implement that would be for the government and for Prime Minister to decide. But if the Americans were once again forced by the actions of the Assad regime, and they asked us to help, it would be very difficult to say no." Donald Trump this month ordered an attack on a Syrian airbase believed to have been used to launch a chemical attack on 4 April. Johnson's comments signal Britain's willingness to be involved in any future similar action. Johnson contrasted the government's resolve with Jeremy Corbyn's hesitation on military questions. The Foreign Secretary said, "There is a real risk. The government of a very great country could be handed over to a guy who has been hostile to NATO all his political career, who would disarm us of nuclear weapons, and a guy would has said he would not advocate a shoot-to-kill policy in the event of an Islamist terrorist putting innocent people's lives at risk." In a wide-ranging interview, Johnson also ruled out agreeing to pay the UN estimated $60 billion in a divorce settlement ahead of talks on trade. Pressed on the Brexit negotiations, Johnson said, "If you are saying they get the money before substantive talks, then is obviously not going to happen. There is no reason at all why the UK should be paying huge sums of money in the long term, trading with the rest of the EU." The Foreign Secretary continued to stand by his widely debunked referendum claim. Britain sends 350 million to the EU each week. "I've explained that figure many times, and it is correct," Johnson said. "The 350 million expresses the total that we do not control every week. When we take back control, it will be possible for the government of the day to use cash on the priorities of this country, which could include the NHS." He also signaled Conservatives were planning to ditch the target of reducing immigration to the tens of thousands. Asked about the target, he said, "For me, the important thing is that it is the UK government that decides. The numbers are high at the moment." He would not give a figure, a sustainable level of immigration, and suggested that higher education should be excluded from any target. He said, "The higher education economy is of immense value to the UK. Of all the kings, queens, presidents and prime ministers in the world, 1 in 7 was educated at university in this country. So I value international students. I'm in favor of talented people, including students, being able to come here. But I'm also in favor of us, as a country, being able to decide our own priorities."